Hello everybody, welcome back. And today let's talk reroutes, a little bit of reroutes revisited. But I want to get into a couple of fundamentals that are good to have clear in your mind. And for today, let's address the radial reroute. All right, so as an example, let's say that you're given by ATC, United 320, flight heading of 280 to intercept the rattlesnake 150 degree radial to rattlesnake on course. All right. Well, when you're given a radial reroute, I want your hand as a fundamental to be irresistibly tractor beam to the direct button on your FMGC. Why? Because that's where the radials live. On the direct page, you're going to have the options for radial inbound and radial outbound. Radial outbound is kind of unusual to use. The vast majority of what we're working with is a radial inbound. So in this example for today, I want your hand to be reaching for the direct page. Now rattlesnake is already in our flight plan because they told us as filed from there. So I expect it to be part of the list. I still need to select it to move it up to that one left position because from there I can manipulate any radials that I want associated with rattlesnake. Now if it wasn't in your flight plan, you would have to type it in and put it into that one left position, into what I like to refer to as the hot seat. Put whatever nav aid of interest into the hot seat, and then you can manipulate radials associated with it for the inbound or the outbound. So we're going to put rattlesnake in the hot seat. Then I'm going to do just what ATC said. What do they say? 150 degree radial to rattlesnake. Sounds like an inbound to me. So I'm going to put that in the radial inbound section. So I'll put the 150, and no, I do not need to do any 180 out math in your head. The Airbus is smart like that. So you can just put in the clearance, 150 degree inbound, and then we are good to go. She understands that in its entirety. As you put that in, the 150 in there, she's going to draw it out in amber. And I want your mindset to be, when you're doing any of these reroutes, the amber is your proposal. So when you turn to your partner and say, does that look good? You should instinctively be eyeballing the amber and say, does that make sense? There's the 150 radial off a rattlesnake. Okay, that all looks good to me. Go ahead and insert it. So on all of these reroutes, when they say, does that look good? I don't want you necessarily looking in the box, although there's nothing wrong with that as well. But I also want you to be referencing the amber on your display and saying, does that make sense, at least for now? It's true, sometimes you'll have to still sequence the box to make everything look clean, but understand the amber on the ND is what the person manipulating the box is proposing. Can we make sense of that? As long as we can, then we're probably doing good work up to that point and we can insert it. Now, another unique characteristic to the direct page is anything you do, and I mean anything you do on the direct page, nav is coming to the party. The real question is she invited to stay? So in this example here, when I put rattlesnake into the hot seat and then I draw my 150 degree radial inbound, I ask my partner if it looks good and I insert it, I am getting nav, whether you want it or not. In this example, we absolutely want nav. She is invited to the party and she's going to be allowed to stay. Because when I insert that nav there, what she's going to effectively do is she's going to draw that out. She's going to give me that heading of 280 up to it. Then she's going to work the nav capture criteria, give me the intercept onto that radial, and life is good. What I'm getting at is after you manipulate the direct page at all, you never need to say nav is available. You're getting it. She's coming to the party. Question is, do we want her to stay? And on these types, you do. She's invited to the party. We're going to let her stay, and we get the intercept, and life is good. We're doing our clearance. When is she not invited to stay? We work the exact same fundamentals when we're extending a final. So if we're being vectored around an approach, and then somebody says, go ahead and extend diamond for me, and you extend it, now we're going to use the same fundamentals. I'm going to go to the direct page because I am in a very real way dealing with radials. In fact, I also teach it that way for the early crews. I want them to think of the direct page, the DIR on the button, as a direct intercept radial. I want them to draw that association with the direct page and manipulating radials. But now when I extend final, my ILS front course might be 353 into diamond. But if you think about it, that's my inbound 353, but it is in a very real way a 173 radial outbound of diamond for that extending final. So usually what the Airbus offers is correct, but not always, which is why we need to check it. Why might it not be correct? Well, it all depends on the angle of perhaps some initial approach fixed feeder fixes and stuff like that. That might actually throw that askew from what you were expecting, which is why we have to always check it. But when we're extending final, now I need to put my 180 out math hat on and say, okay, inbound's 353, I better be looking at 173. Usually what Airbus recommends to you, so if I hit diamond in the radial inbound already in small numbers, she's going to be recommending 173. I have to mentally check that I'm okay with that, and then I still have to select it, because otherwise I'd be getting a direct to diamond. I don't want a direct to diamond. I want a direct to diamond via the 173 radial, which is the reciprocal of the inbound, right? Hopefully that makes sense to you. Usually what the box recommends is correct, but not always. So you always got to check it. And that's the only time I can think of in the modern bus box where we need to do that 180 out math in public type of thing. But I want you to understand that the logic is still the same. So I would do the 173, I would select it. It's going to draw me out that nice amber line. I'm going to ask my partner, does that look good? And then when I insert it, again, nav is always coming to the party for anything you do on the direct page. But now she's not invited. So how do we kick her out if she's not invited? We reach up, we pull the heading knob, that makes nav go away, and now we're abiding by our clearance. A moment ago when we still had nav in there, that was not our clearance, and it might cause the airplane to turn in such a way that was not part of our clearance, which is why we need to make that go away. So those are the fundamentals I want you to be clear on. Anything involving the radial, you're reaching for the direct button. But the direct page is unique in the sense where anything I do on it, nav's coming whether I want it or not. So you always have to ask yourself, do I want the nav she's given me or do I want to make it go away? If I want to make it go away, just pull on the heading knob. Hopefully all of that helps. Thanks again for watching and we'll see you next time.